Order. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Price, would you call the roll, please?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman.
Here.
Mr. DeLauro.
Here.
Mr. Cottle.
Here.
Mr. Spickard.
Here. Thank you. And we have a few special presentations today, but before we get started, Mrs. Chapman, do you have a motion for the police department?
I move to accept the retirement of K-9 Officer Brody effective 1/26/24.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro.
Yes.
Mr. Cottle.
Yes. Chief?
Okay. My name is Jack Simone. I'm the police chief here in Springfield Township. Before we get started, I want to do some introductions. Board of Trustees, Jeremy Caudell. Well, first we got Mike Spickard, our fiscal officer. Jeremy Caudell, Board of Trustees. Joe DeLauro, Board of Trustees. Kelly Chapman, Board of Trustees. Administrative Assistant is Patty Price. Leanne Jasko. Administrative Assistant to the Board of Trustees is Ted Weinsheimer. And our zoning administrator is Deb Gross, sitting over there. So, and I do want to do one more thing. I want to thank the Board of Trustees. They always supported this police department. We have the resources and tools and the employees we have because of the support of this board. So before I go any further, I do want to thank this board for all their support. The next thing I want to mention before we move any farther, these police officers here tonight, a lot of the public doesn't realize the things that these officers are dealing with every day out here in this community. They're not the highest paid in the county, but they're the hardest working in the county. These officers show up every day for their shifts. We're very fortunate here in Springfield. We don't have a problem with officers calling off sick. We don't have an issue with officers getting into trouble. We rarely ever, if ever, get a legitimate citizen's complaint. So before we go any farther, I do want to recognize these guys, these officers, the men and women in this department. They do a great job for this community. So if we could recognize them real quick. Okay, we're here tonight. One's tough news, losing our K-9, who's been a dedicated employee officer for our department for the last 5 years. As tough as that is, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for a few individuals I'm going to recognize real quick. If you're not aware that we have the benefit of having a trained, fully trained K-9 program, totally funded by donations. A very small part of the K-9 costs come out of the police budget. So the taxpayers aren't paying much at all for this program that we have that services not only our department, this K-9 program serves the Metro SWAT team. This K-9 program also gets called out to other communities that are in need of a K-9. With Sergeant Brady and Brody, they'll drop whatever they're doing to respond to the calls that they've had. The last 5 years, this program has been up and running. This program wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for a few individuals. Kate Thurston, are you here? There's Kate. Joe Gaffney, Sergeant Gaffney. Where's Sergeant Gaffney at? Okay. Kelly Chapman over here. Sean Brady, of course, and Chief Hoover. I think he's here somewhere tonight. Chief Hoover, are you here? So can we give those folks a round of applause? Because you know what? As tough as this is, we wouldn't have this program if it wasn't for the efforts on those folks. And all that they do to promote this program, to fundraise for this program, is on their own time. So thank you again for those folks for doing what you've done for this program. K-9 Brody, what an asset he's been to this community and for our police department. Works tirelessly along with Sergeant Brady. Together, they've made significant contributions for this community, for the safety and well-being of our residents. They've been deployed probably, Sean, hundreds of times. They get deployed, apprehending suspects, Brody is also the benefit because he convinces a lot of people to surrender so that they don't have to arrest them. But he's done a great job. That team, as far as being deployed, seizing thousands of dollars, I think that's reasonable to say, Sean, of illegal drugs, heroin, methamphetamine, or cocaine. The accomplishments of that K-9 team go beyond just the patrol. Sean volunteers, him and Brody, for all our community events out here, whether it's the Safety Town, if it's Shop with the Cop, the Friday night concerts. So he made that K-9 very available to our community, not just on patrol, but also for our community programs. It's been a tough year. Sean will attest to that with Brody and his health problems. Many of you know that in this room tonight that Brody's been suffering with numerous health problems. For that reason, and that we're losing Sergeant Brady to another agency, we felt that the well-being of the dog, the health and safety of the dog, this was a good time for us to retire him. Bid him a good farewell while he's still healthy and not push that. I know that Brody has been dealing with some spine issues. He's missed a lot of work this year because of that. I know that he's had a number of treatments, so it's still an ongoing progress. We don't want the dog to suffer anymore, so we thought this was the best time for us to do that. For the well-being and the quality of life of this dog, we're going to go ahead and retire him tonight. Springfield Police Department would like to express its profound gratitude to Sergeant Brady and his K-9 Brody for their dedicated service to this community, for these officers, and our citizens. We extend our best wishes to Sergeant Brady as he embarks on a new chapter in his career. Fortunately, he'll be close, so we'll still get to see him a lot. And we wish K-9 Brody a peaceful retirement, so that you know that K-9 Brody will retire and spend the rest of his life with Sergeant Brady and his family. So for that, thank you, Sean. Thank you, K-9 Brody. The Board of Trustees would like to read a proclamation for K-9 Brody tonight.
Mrs. Chapman?
Whereas we honor those who generously give their time and talents to improve their communities, and whereas Springfield Township Board of Trustees deems it necessary to highlight the accomplishment and bestow honor on township employees who are committed to excellence and consistently strive to improve our community. And whereas K-9 Officer Brody is one of those. He has devoted 5 years of exemplary service as the Springfield Township Police Police K-9 Officer. Now therefore, we the Springfield Township Board of Trustees, in appreciation of his devotion and service to the Township of Springfield, honor K-9 Officer Brody on his retirement, January 26, 2024.
All right. Sean Brady, thank you. The other reason we're here tonight is we get an opportunity to promote a really, really good officer. We've had the benefit in this police department, I mean, since I've been here in 4 years, we've had a lot of officers move up, and it's basically, you hear this a lot for sports team, next man up, and that's how it's been. Every time we take a step back with something like this, we're able to move up with the next officer to come up and do a great job. So the department for the community, for the residents, has not missed a beat. And I think that we're going to be fine with this officer that we're getting ready to promote tonight. So if the Board of Trustees would like to do a motion?
Yes, I move to promote Officer Cody Mead to the position of Sergeant effective February 5th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Cody, who did you bring here with you tonight?
Brought my grandparents in the front, Rita Jr., my parents, Bob and Bobby, my sister and her boyfriend, Keely and Corey, and my aunts, Kelly and Sue.
Okay, very good. Great officer, right? You guys did a great job with this one. While assigned to patrol, Officer Meade continuously engages in proactive policing efforts, okay? Because of his efforts, he's recovered numerous stolen vehicles, he's taken numerous firearms off the street, and he's made, I would say, countless felony arrests. Cody Mead comes to us. He graduated from Walsh University with a degree in sociology and criminal justice. He's been a full-time police officer with Springfield for 4 years. He did have some police experience before he came to Springfield for about a year. He's a field training officer. Cody Mead is our firearms instructor, one of our firearms instructor. He's a tactical member on the Metro SWAT team. He attended first-line supervisor training, and he's received the Proactive Policing Award. Officer Mead generally leads this department with arrests, stops, and a self-initiated activity. He just does a great job. Cody, if you can come on up here. You have somebody with you? No. Sorry, Mom. We're going to read Cody's oath first, then you can pin his badge. Don't poke. He's working tonight, do workers' comp. Raise your right hand. I, state your name,
Cody Mead,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to affirm that I will support
to affirm that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
of America
of America,
and the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio
of the State of Ohio,
and the laws and ordinances
and the laws and ordinances
of the political subdivision
of the political subdivision
to which I am appointed,
to which I am appointed,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
will discharge those duties
will discharge those duties
of this office.
of this office.
Congratulations. Sergeant Mead. It's an important day for our community. Fortunately, I've gotten the opportunity to do this a few times now. An exciting day for Cody and his family. Cody, with your years of experience and training, you have demonstrated character traits and knowledge necessary for your new role. To the family of Cody, we extend our genuine thanks. Cody's presence here today is a testament of your influence. Thank you for shaping Cody into the remarkable young man that he is. And thank you for sharing him with us. Understand, regardless of the personalities, Cody, the characteristics of the folks you're working with, we all lead one team. Very few ever get an opportunity or a privilege to serve in a leadership role, especially in law enforcement. So lead by example. Your leadership role is important. Do just what you've been doing. Cody quietly, methodically goes about his business every shift. Others will watch that. They're all watching. Cody, keep doing that. Always treat people with dignity and respect. Lead with integrity and honor. We're looking forward to the impact you're going to have on this department and this community. I want to say congratulations officially to Sergeant Cody Mead, and God bless. Okay, the Board of Trustees will take a short recess. If you want to take photographs up front, you can do that. And there'll be cake and refreshments out in the lobby. Good?
Yep. We stand in recess. All right. We will call the meeting back to order. I have some administrative issues. I move to dispense with reading the minutes and approve the minutes today.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudle?
Yes.
I move to approve payment of bills and payroll as prepared by the fiscal officer, subject to audit.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudle?
Yes.
For the fiscal department, I move to approve an advancement of $95,037.56 to Fund 2911 for the 2024 SAFER Grant. This will be paid from Fund Line 1,920,920, which is the general fund. This, just for clarification, this amount is to cover the first 4 payrolls for the newly hired fire department. It will be, this will just cover things until the SAFER Grant can kick in, and that will start taking over the payment of those salaries.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes. I move to approve the supplemental appropriations for 2023 listed as Exhibit A, as prepared by the fiscal officer and submitted to the Summit County Fiscal Office.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
And I move to approve the reallocation of appropriation of funds per the attached Exhibit B for proper documentation of expenditures.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman, you have some motions for the police department?
I move to adopt the attached resolution for the purchase of one 2023 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor in the amount not to exceed $42,406.33 and paid to Montrose Ford, and authorize the Chief of Police, Jack Simone, to enter into the purchase agreement.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
I move to remove Officer Ty Clapp from full-time probation effective February 2nd, 2024.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
It is with regret that the Board of Trustees is acknowledging the receipt of the resignation letter from Sergeant Sean Brady dated January 12, 2024. The Board of Trustees will accept Sean Brady's resignation. Thank you for all your hard work, and we wish you the best in your future endeavors. I move to accept the resignation of Sergeant Sean Brady effective January 26, 2024.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle, you have a motion for the road department?
Yes. I move to accept the annual highway system mileage certification for 2023 as reported by the Ohio Department of Transportation. The total certified mileage as of December 31st, 2023 was 70.758 miles.
I would second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
And for the fire department?
I move to amend motion 016-24 for Goodyear Commercial Tire in the amount of $4,085.21 to $4,342.15 for replacement tires on engine 1 and paid from Fund Line 2191-230-323.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes. I move to accept the letter of official notice of retirement received from Fire Chief Victor Winsick, and therefore conclude his employment with Springfield Township at 8 a.m. the morning of Monday, February 5th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Would any members of the audience like to address the board? Hearing no one? Come on up, Dave, I'm just messing with you. Okay, oh, yeah.
Do it here?
Oh, Chief will move it for you, thank you.
I'll just break it.
Sorry. Thank you, Chief.
David Dees, 118
184 West Parkway. First question I have is, you had this move relocation of appropriate funds attached, Exhibit B, proper documentation of expenditures. What is that?
Do you have it on
I don't have it in front of me, but in our fire funds, when they were set up for a temporary budget, some of the funds were running a little bit short. So what we do is we reallocate funds from one fund within that fund to another fund line to properly document those expenditures. It's money that's already there. It's just being reshuffled to properly document for the expenses.
And it's in the fire department
And we're
already.
documenting this for who?
The fire department.
Oh,
Yeah, that's that particular one.
okay, and then whenever you guys spend money, like the SAFER grant, you have, it says 1,920-920. Then you come down here and you say, okay, we bought a new police car for the chief, and it has no fund number on it. What fund did that come out of?
What fund did that?
That come out of the 2274 fund. It's actually written in the resolution. So we'd be duplicating, so we put that in the resolution.
So that's coming out of the 2274 fund, so that's a total of 3 cars that are going to come out of that fund now?
Do you mean, when you say the total?
You're talking about this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Talking about this
total,
fund, it was
total of 3
$1.4
cars
million,
will come out of that
right?
fund. That is correct.
So that's the 2274 fund,
That
so,
is correct.
so readjusting this ARPA for this lake project, you just took money out of that?
No,
No.
Well, it was never in there, I mean,
but we still had funds that we could expend. So that's what the trustees
So
have
that's what I'm
chosen
saying.
to
So
do.
you-
That's
so-
what the trustees have chosen to do.
so considering for the future, we took out of that 399,400 that was going to be considered for the future, that was a bioretention cell, we're not going to do that anymore.
Cannot answer that, sir.
Other lake improvement projects, we're not going to do any of that?
I believe there's projects that they're.
This is money
being
that was,
looked at.
we had money accounted for doing lake projects.
And that's,
You just spent some money, and I'm out of this project, and that number has to go down. Because this isn't money that you just generate somewhere else. Am I correct, or I'm incorrect?
No, that money will go down. That is
So this money
correct.
will go down.
yeah, but we're not taking away from the money that's earmarked for the lake projects are there.
It's going to stay at 340,000, how's it going to stay the same?
Yes. Because if you look, there was
Yeah, I
like
don't know what sheet.
$90,000. I don't have the sheet in front of me, but there was money that hadn't been accounted for, or not accounted for, but
Well,
hadn't been earmarked for anything.
Okay, well then I guess my last question would be, can I get accountability for this fund again? This, to where it's, shows the correct numbers?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And lastly, have we done anything for the lake?
Sure. Like actually physically do anything right
Well,
now? No, but
obvi-
we have been meeting and talking to people, yes, so.
Meeting and talking to people, okay.
Yes.
So we have not moved forward on anything?
I spoke with David Coons last week, and he said there are 12
What was
projects.
that?
I spoke with Coons, Mr. Coons.
Oh,
He's-
okay, yeah.
And he stated that they're still looking at our shovel-ready retention pond project, but there's other ones. And I got another call into him today, because he said there was 12 that they were doing the study on, and they were trying to look at where they were going to get more bang for their buck. And he's supposed to get back to me, and that's why I sent him another email today, because he hadn't yet.
That reminds me of another question. Sorry. In this fund, we had a water quality study done by CT Consultants. Did we get that?
He
We
was
paid them
also,
$7,000 for it.
Say that again.
I think we got it.
Yeah,
The what-
we got it.
We got it
And I
on-
believe that's been included in part of the study that the county has
Yes.
done, and that's part of what they're looking at that trustee
I believe that-
Chapman has just talked about.
I believe the county's using, that is part of the shovel-ready, what they're calling the shovel-ready project. They're using that, that was
So,
done already,
we
yes.
paid CT Consultants $7,000 to do a water study, and we have no paperwork on it?
No, we have it electronically.
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Is there
we
any way I
received-
can get that?
I will add that to the list, sir.
You have my email, so you can,
I will add it to the list.
Thank
Actually, I think you have received it before.
I think you got it.
And in the same emails that Michelle Moyer has put out.
this is from CT Consultants, not
Yes,
Summit County?
I believe
Right,
you
yeah,
have
from
received it.
Okay, I might have got it before.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you probably have it, but it's probably been some time, because
Yes.
we ran into the same problem, Dave, seriously. We were wondering where it was, and then we went back through some
Well,
emails.
this is what's going on, and the ice is gonna melt, and the thing's still gonna be green out there, you know? I mean, this is what's going on. We're not getting anywhere. We're not, you know. Summit County also, if you guys don't know, the recovery money that they received, they earmarked hundreds of thousands of dollars to redo the dike in that whole area that, you know about that, okay?
Yeah.
They did none of it, and it was last year's money. I just wonder, has anybody contacted Summit County about that?
Well, he also said they were still looking at going over there and doing some work. And that's where the call is where he's supposed to call me back on that, because he said CT Consultants is dragging their feet with giving him the study results.
So one of the things I can speak to is that I know that last year, some of that money is being spent. They were surveying, setting pins all down through the outlet. I know that some of the things that they have to do, I don't know where they're at in that. Part of this, their work that has to be done is they have to get rights to go on properties, clear the outlet, and do some of this work. But I know that the engineer had a crew out there surveying it all the way to the Akron line, I believe. And getting all that information as part of the project, I guess I should say.
Okay, when you first said that, you said, and this is why I started with the funds first, okay? You said that some of the money has already been spent.
That's not our money.
Not our money.
That's
Their-
I know.
That's
I know
theirs.
it's not-
That's their
I know
project.
it's Summit County's money, and it's money that's already been spent. We're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing. We're spending this money, and I'm sorry, Chief, that I'm saying this, but we're spending the money on the police department's cars instead of where it was allocated for fixing the lake, putting in retention ponds and getting that project started. I don't want to wait for anybody else and then keep spending the money. Not that he doesn't need a car, not that we don't need a pothole fixed or this or that, you know, but we earmarked this money for something, let's do it. That's all I got. We sit here and don't do anything.
I have one other thing for you. I'm going to update you on. I got a hold of Chippewa. They had a big problem with their lake also, and I'm working on getting the company that fixed their lake here and the mayor here, and they're going to talk to us about what they did. And it sounds like it's a pretty reasonable price to fix it. That would be a fix for the short term, and then we could, you know.
Well, I don't know that you know it, but we also had the city of Akron looking at the same thing, and they were gonna do something, and it's $200,000 for a treatment, and nothing ever happened. We didn't, are we
For
done
a
meeting with
quarter
that?
dose treatment was over $200,000, and you're supposed to do multiple treatments a year, which would put us into the
Right.
$500,000. So again, you gotta look at your bang for the buck.
Yeah, I want to see what they say, because Chippewa, the lady I spoke with, they treated theirs back in 2016, and just last summer, they had a little bit of a flare-up, and they said they had some left over. They knocked it out like that.
Well, that's all well and good, and I don't want to sound like I don't want the lake to be clear, because I do want the lake to be clear. So if you spent $200,000 or whatever to make the lake clear, and all of a sudden people are using it again, and we get rid of the red signs, that would be great. But you didn't fix the problem.
Well,
You didn't fix the problem. You're still flushing toilets down here and putting that raw waste right into the lake. I showed you the video. These guys have seen the video. It happens all the time. It happens with every house. It happens with my house. It happens with all these houses along the
I
lake.
mean, what kind of shocked me is, like, when I talked with the health department, they act like it was normal procedure.
Right.
They did, they're like, oh.
I told you that's
okay.
what was going to
I
happen.
was like, I was shocked, so.
They're not going to want to help because that means that they got to spend money, So,
I mean, but I would like to see the lake, have them come in here, and if we could strike a deal with them. I mean, it sounds like we could possibly get it done for under $100,000. And I think it'd be wonderful if we'd be able to open it up by summertime, having this treatment.
I'm not educated enough to say what they're doing is, adding heavy metals and copper and phosphates and all this
It's
other
some kind
stuff.
of a new.
I am not an
oxygen-
expert at anything
some
that
kind
they're
of
adding to
oxygen.
the lake. I don't know what they added at Chippewa. I don't know if it's good for it or bad for it or not. I know the city of Akron people, as far as I was concerned, they were pretty educated on what they were doing, So, but I don't know, I do know one thing, that
Wow.
you're going to treat it, make it clean, and I'm going to still get it dirty.
I mean, what they're gonna do is they're gonna come in and they say they pretty much heal it, like, because right now it's sick. So anyone is sick, take medicine. They're gonna bring up the good algae to fight off the bad stuff. And that's how they cured Chippewa. They're doing Congress Lake currently, and they're big time down in like Florida and Utah. They said there's many, many problems down there.
Thank you.
I think, Mrs. Simone, do you have anything to say? You do not? Okay, well, thank you for coming to the meeting. Okay. Do either of my colleagues have anything? Any announcements?
No, just we're going to be trained here in Columbus, so I'm looking forward to that. Is that next week?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
It's
Heading down
coming
to a
before
new
you.
trustee.
Yes. All right. Anything else? No? Hearing nothing? I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
White phone.
That's a wrap. All right.